problem, what's going on back at home, as was in my circumstance. And none of that is because of institutionalized policy. It almost seems like you guys refuse to accept that, Black students aren't performing well. You feel like you have to have this burden of responsibility when, in fact, if you actually wanted to help, you would look at the facts, re-examine the fact that it's not helping anybody. It's not helping Black Americans to artificially place them into universities, and you'd make effective change.
But you're making the assumption that Black students are academically inferior, and they're not.
No,
they're
you
some
are
of our
actually.
most brilliant students
that's
that we
the
have.
basic. No. That you are making the assumption that they are inferior.
You
It
just
is
said
why
that they
you
don't
want
belong there.
policies. I'm talking about the students that are based on the policies that you are defending right now, saying that we should have these policies that let them into these universities, not based on their skill set, but based on the color of their skin. So you are assuming that they are inferior.
What's going on, everyone? Saucer King here today. But as you guys saw from the intro, Candace was going in, and I wanted to bring back this discussion again. Candace Owens on Dr. Phil, as you guys can clearly see, and they're going to go debate about affirmative action and its effectiveness, and isn't it actually addressing an actual problem? In my opinion,
nope,
it's not, because in the day, you're basically judging someone just based on how they were born, the color of their skin. I thought we were past that already. I guess not. I thought Martin Luther King said, "Judge me on the character, or judge people on the character, judge them based on their character, not the color of their skin." Right? But it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like we're going backwards in our modern culture, right? We're regressing as a culture, and it's baffling to me that there's people out there that actually assume that Black people are not where they're supposed to be because of institutional racism. But you can't name me a policy that discriminates me based on my race, right? You can't show me any evidence that, oh, hey, this law says you can't be this because of your skin color. You can't point me to a law like that. The only policies that I can find that targets me based on the color of my skin is affirmative action.
bruh.
Racism, whether it's a positive outcome for you or a negative outcome, is discrimination. Period. Like, we're gonna go into some of how the crowd was reacting, and then later on in the video, we'll get into the meat of the video, which is Candace Owens giving her monologue. Let's take a look.
Sir in the back.
Yeah, if you're white, someone can discriminate against you, but there's no systemic basis to it.
But if it's becoming part of the university admission process, if it's determining hiring practices, dismissal practices in industry, is that not systemic?
You could nitpick and find little instances on both sides. But I think if you look at it as a whole, then you begin to understand where it's coming from.
And I have a problem with this guy. He's smirking. Like, what are you smirking about, bro? You didn't prove anything. You just virtue signaling and say, look at me, I'm a white man, and I'm pandering for the Black folk. And Black people, we need to get over this. Like, we need to get over people emotionally appeasing us because they looking for a certain outcome, right? My mom said, there's nothing free in this world, right? There has to be some benefit for a person to be virtue signaling like that. But yeah, I don't see it that way, right? If you see a Black man advocating for race neutrality, y'all gonna claim that I'm trying to be white.
How dare you?
Y'all gonna claim, oh, you speaking like a white man.
Bruh.
When I'm being logically consistent. If I believe that all men are created equal, then I don't want any privileges or disadvantage based on something I can't control, which is my skin color. But you guys are okay with that? Come on, guys.
It doesn't make sense.
And one of the things that Dr. Phil pointed out is, hey, these affirmative action policies are discriminating against people based on the color of skin because majority of the student body happen to be that skin color. So if we go to a historically Black college and they put a DEI program in an historically Black college, wouldn't that discriminate against Black people? And y'all would agree with me that that's racism, right?
Bruh.
I'm value meritocracy. End of the day, Black people are not in the Yales, and people think college make people smart. No, they don't. College just get the smart people and then they take credit for it. That's what college pretty much is. Don't tell me I'm lying. Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college, billionaire. Bill Gates dropped out of Yale, billionaire. You think Yale can take any credit for making Bill Gates a billionaire?
Nope.
No, they already had the intelligence to succeed in life. It's just they happen to go to college. That's it. That's all college do. College is just a filtering system. So when these DEI people or these affirmative action advocates come in and say, oh, Black minority students need to go to these fancy Ivy League universities so they can have a chance at life, the damage has already been done.
Bruh.
You can't compete at that level because you didn't meet the bar to begin with. And just placing you in the environment doesn't magically make you smarter. That's a false conception about college. I digress. Let's get into the clip right here.
It's great that you try to fix some of the inequities that have happened in the past, but I don't think it should jump to the front of the line when you're going to college or you're trying to get a job. I think it's important that we address it very early on, where a lot of the major issues are happening in the families of some of the ones that are maybe disadvantaged, or if they're having trouble in school, it started at the elementary school level, where once they get to the admissions process or get to a job interview, it's based on your merit.
I agree completely with Dave right here, right? And I already kind of gave you guys a sneak peek of what he was going to say, but a lot of the issues, like if you look at the stats, a lot of kids that drop out of school, drop out of high school, failing they can't read at third grade level. A lot of these, like, especially black men for some reason, in a certain grade level, I forgot where, in high school or something, that they're still reading at under a third grade level. Majority of them come from a single parent household, single mother household specifically,
Bruh.
and that's 70% of the black community raised by single mothers. That means you already started off at a disadvantage. The only disadvantages and disadvantages you get is based on the behavior and actions that your parents choose and you choose. That's the only thing that influences really your decisions. Internal decision making. This is why I always focus on personal responsibility. The black community needs to take more responsibility about the actions and decisions that it makes. You voted for a political party for 50 years and you're still getting just scraps. You're still getting welfare and all this stuff that making you dependent on them, and you can't really do anything for yourself. Y'all chose that. At the end of the day, it's 50-50, right?
Bruh.
You're 50% responsible for that because you keep voting for a party that's only interested in staying in power. And the best way to keep themselves in power is to keep you dependent on the government, welfare, and all this other social programs, right? Conditioning you not to want to do anything for yourself, punishing you in the welfare policy that if you try to make any means of yourself, they'll pull your support faster than you can actually replace it.
Bruh.
But y'all don't see a problem with that. And in fact, y'all demand more. And this is the kind of environment y'all facilitating for the future generation. And this is why I said, like, racism, systematic racism, or legacy of slavery, this dumb stuff that black people like to blame their current circumstances on. All it really is saying that the previous generation didn't set up the current generation for an advantage in life and left us with more of a disadvantage in life. That's all it tells me.
Bruh.
That's a real legacy of slavery. But I digress. Candace Owens about to go in on this one. And yes, we are compromising standards by putting out affirmative action. But let's take a look.
Are we compromising standards
Yes.
if we do that because we haven't fixed the problem down the line?
That's correct. It is the policies are harmful also to the people that they purport to help, and we have all of the evidence there to look at. When you artificially place a Black American into a school in which they do not belong based on their knowledge, doesn't mean that they go on to get A's. In fact, there was a Black adjunct professor, you guys have definitely heard of him, Dr. Sowell, who was teaching at Cornell University, and he found that the majority of the Black American students that were there were on academic probation. Now, these students were some of the smartest in the nation, but because they were artificially placed amongst their peers at Cornell University, they were failing on academic probation. These policies have never helped Black Americans. It's just basically policies that are put in place to make people feel good, right? I feel like I'm doing something when in fact I'm actually creating harm. You either know the answers or you don't.
Hey, that's facts. Hey. I like how she name dropped Thomas Sowell, because a lot of people are like, who's that? Well, and this is something I've been saying a long time. Like, affirmative action is setting up Black people disproportionately to fail, right? And I think for too much, when it comes to affirmative action and these theories about gender equality or racial equality and all this nonsense, they only focus on the intentions of the policies and not the results.
Bruh.
Because in the day, if you want to judge something as good, you have to see the results. You got to see the fruits that it bears, right? Judge them by their fruit, right? Judge them on the result. But we're not doing that. We're judging on intentions. Oh, this are our intentions. But if your intentions is hurting somebody, it's bad objectively. If someone said, "Oh, I love you," but every instance they do is they undermine you, disrespect you, cheat on you, do all this negative stuff towards you, the result is negative. But they claim they love you, but the result is negative. And that's what affirmative action is shown, right? People who got into a college institution through affirmative action shows higher dropout rates compared to people who got there based on solely on merit.
Bruh.
But no one wants to accept that. You can even look at it in the corporate world. People who are hired on affirmative action, they tend to get laid off first.
Bruh.
They tend to get fired first because they don't have this. Because when tough times are hard, companies don't have the luxury to have inefficient labor. That's the facts. And you saw it with Twitter. All the women were complaining, oh my God, he fired majority of women. No, you guys didn't want to stay. He gave you an ultimatum. Hey, we're going to increase the work hours. You weren't willing to do it. He's like, yo, then you're not a core component of the company's moving.
Bruh.
But yeah, I don't see it this way. It almost seems like people who are advocate for affirmative action, they want special privileges for the black people. And I just think this is just to appease the ego of the white liberal. I told you, to me, liberals, all liberals, most of y'all anyway, y'all have a savior complex. Y'all think y'all can save everybody. Y'all think y'all special because of the color of y'all skin. You not.
Bruh.
I don't know what white person need to hear this, but you don't got a superpower just because you were born white. And I stand on that. But I digress. Let's hear the rebuttal from the professor, and then I give my final thoughts at the end of the video. Let's take a look.
You say, hey, we have black students at a particular school who aren't performing at that school as well. The immediate assumption that you're making is, well, maybe it's because they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, or they don't belong here. Whereas it could be about the experience that they're having at that institution. Professors who believe that they're not intelligent enough, that they don't have the capability to do the work, that they see them as criminals, deviants, dangerous, up to no good, or they talk about them with the they statements. They're lazy, they don't care, they don't really belong here. They're only here for the financial aid.
I'm giving you actual facts.
No,
right?
I'm giving you actual facts based upon
fantasize,
extensive
you can say, well, maybe they
research
just
that's
don't
been
feel
done.
good, but that's not the case.
Yo, that was a lot of like, emotional reasoning there. I'm just saying, look.
It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
End of the day, when you pass a test, does the professor necessarily have to like you for you to pass or fail a class?
Nope.
No, you're being judged based on your merits, based on your results. It doesn't matter how someone feels about you. There's people, millions of people possibly, there's thousands of people possibly that feels negatively about what I'm saying on this video. Does that affect whether this video succeeds or fails?
Nope.
It doesn't. I decide whether something succeeds or fails. Personal responsibility, and that's what I'm saying. It seems like Thomas Sowell, this is a quote I accredited to Thomas Sowell. He woke me up to this. He said, it seems like the black community is more interested in having an alibi than having accomplishments. True words have never been spoken because they always want something to blame. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. Racism. That's why when, the meme, when a black person is losing the argument, pull out the race card. That's what they want. They just want the ability to weaponize their race and use it as a catch-all shield.
Nope.
And we can never get to a race-neutral society if black people keep trying to perpetuate this narrative that people are out to get them, that they have a harder life than everyone else in this country, when that's not facts.
Bruh.
Because you were born a certain skin color, you have a harder life than majority of people in this country. You can't make that claim. You don't know everyone in the world. There's people in Africa that's poorer than you. If you're in America, you're the top 1% wealthiest people in the world. That means if you as a black American go to any other country, you're considered privileged.
Bruh.
But you want to sit here and say, oh, I have it harder than everyone in the world. Like, it's baffling. The people who talk like that, they've never been outside of the United States. I have. I went to Haiti. I went to where my parents were from. I was like, I don't want to go back.
Bruh.
I was grateful that I had running water when I came back from Haiti. It made me appreciate, like, damn, it's not like this everywhere else. It seems like if black people don't get over the fact that they like to complain a lot and just take responsibility, because at the end of the day, I always say this: if you ain't responsible for yourself, someone else is. And if someone else is responsible for you, they also have authority over you. And if I'm talking about personal responsibility, I think black community should take that as an empowerment statement. Oh, I'm responsible. I am the biggest impact on my life. Let me make some changes. But we don't get a message like that. We get a message that it's someone else's fault for where we're at. We're at the bottom because of our skin color, and there's nothing we can ever do about that. Bruh, come on. What?
Bruh.
Does that sound empowering to y'all? No, it don't. And this is how the only way you can justify this affirmative action nonsense. But really, affirmative action is setting y'all up to fail. Y'all gonna go to a college that you quite don't have the skills to get there. You barely inked out. But if it was just a pure meritocracy, you would have made it into college. But because of your skin color, you got in, right? You go in, you falling behind in class, you go on debt, you have a higher likelihood of dropping out of this institution, and you guys call that a win?
Bruh.
No, I don't call that a win. But guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You agree, disagree? Let me know why in the comment sections. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.